Shalom, peace, and blessings. Thank you for joining us. My name is Sophia of the AmaruKhan Band of Indians, and we are here for a discussion, an esoteric discussion of Not Like Us. This is continuing our discussion that we had exactly almost 6 months today in relation to Cat Williams and the teraphim, which is the household idol. That's the logo that he was wearing that allowed him to do such an explosive interview with relatively no blowback, which I've never seen anyone capable of revealing so much truth without actually having to pay for it in some way, shape, or form. And that's because Cat Williams, had the protection of the teraphim. So now we have a similar incident exactly like literally 6 months later, maybe 7 months, with this Not Like Us music video. And a lot is going on, so we're going to discuss this in 3 parts. And if I know how to do timestamps, I'll do timestamps in case you want to skip. First, I'm going to discuss some comments that viewers made on the original video, because I think it's important to document some of these comments. They're really good. Then we're going to go into talking about some of the scenes in the video, which I know a lot of people have already gone over. So I'm just going to mention them a little bit slowly or whatever. Then we're going to talk about the etymology, really, really interesting. Then we're going to talk about the astrology. And then we're going to talk about the politics because, like many others, I assumed that they would be utilizing this to, not they. When I say they, I mean the Democrats specifically. They are the ones who typically come into the black community, take our behavior, take the stuff that we like, the stuff that we do, and apply it to their campaigns. And it is campaign season, so I would be remiss if I didn't discuss that. And but I'm going to save that for the end because I might go on a bit about that. And the people who don't want to hear that, I'll save you the trouble of hearing that. All right. So this was one of the comments. This song will always be played every 4th of July. This is our new national anthem. Like, this is the same. If you remember my video, or if you haven't seen on the incident that happened in Maryland with the bridge, that was tied into Francis Scott Key, who is the author of the Star Spangled Banner. And this is literally the new Star Spangled Banner. Also, this is going to be our anthem for Cinco de Agosto. I heard is our new national Negro holiday. And of course, if you don't know what Cinco de Agosto is, that is the Day of the Chair. That is when we had our Alabama Riverwalk battle, in which the Negroes did come out successful. Ancestors was jumping in from everywhere, and that, of course, was initiated by some women who had done an ancestor walk literally that morning, and then that evening, afternoon, whatever, is when the Battle of Montgomery, or the Battle of Montgomery took place, with the captain signaling the beginning of the battle by the throwing of the hats. And so now we have our drinking holiday bestowed upon us by our brothers, the Latinos, who gave us this Cinco de Agosto. And so I'm sure I'll be doing a video on that as more people start to pick it up. But is that going into my national holiday list? Absolutely. So I don't know what I'll be doing this Cinco de Agosto, but I will be playing Not Like Us. All right, so Kendrick reminds us all that we don't have enough hate in our hearts. We gotta hate to our fullest potential. This is really important. A lot of people, they only want to work with the light. They only want to deal with the light. And there's nothing wrong with the light. I'm not saying don't work with the light. However, people who are all light and no darkness, you're out of balance. It's the same thing with the people who are committing all these atrocities. They are way too much darkness and no light. They have no balance. They have fake balance. What they do is they pretend to have the light by doing quote unquote charity, but really their charity isn't real charity because they get tax write-offs and then they use the charities quote unquote to traffic people. So it's no real charity that they're doing. So that means the people who are on the light side have got to get a handle on. I mean, what Dot did is righteous anger. This is totally righteous. He is totally correct in his response to this. He has not gone overboard. People say, "Oh, he's done enough." No. He did not go overboard. He did exactly what was necessary. If he continues to dance on this man's grave, it would still be necessary. I'm sorry. I'm not a Drake fan. I've never been a Drake fan. I see Drake as the Antichrist of hip hop. I've never said that exact phrase, but that's how I feel. When Drake came along, and I was in the music industry at this time as an analyst, as A&R, radio. I was doing a lot of independent side media. And when Drake came along, the entire industry was destroyed because now everyone was singing about, I don't even know how to describe this without being too, everyone was singing about strippers and crying over strippers. No, to that point, no one cried over strippers. A prostitute was a prostitute, and there was rules and codes and a lot of music, especially you think about like 3-6 Mafia is talking about the rules and the codes to dealing with these particular women who engage in prostitution. Drake came in and started crying over them. The next thing you know, Kim Kardashian, BBLs, this has led to the complete destruction of the black image of a black woman in the industry. 100% on Drake's head. And you may or may not agree, but I was in college at the time, very much a radio person, very much a music listener and observer. And this is what I saw. I saw after that, all these men started doing this weird crying thing over strippers, and I could not understand it. And you had some of the other ones trying to redirect that energy, but whatever magic, quote unquote, Drake was using, it was just too powerful, and that is what won out. And you know that because everybody's got a BBL now. You know, all the strippers had BBLs at the... Anyway, we're not just... Anyway, you have to hate to your total... You have to do as much as you love, as hard as you love. When you hate something, you also have to hate it that hard. And I feel like that would be imbalance. It's totally out of balance to love to your fullest potential without also hating to your fullest potential. And righteous anger is something that we definitely need more of. All right. Never thought a day would come when YouTube put a murder video live. Facts. That was... I'd never seen... I watched that video probably 60 or 70 times so far. I've never seen anything like this. It reminds me personally, I'm a kind of a student of the culture in certain aspects, not all of the culture. But it reminds me when the ATL came out, because ATL and the King album was just so iconic that when that movie came out, and it's just like wrapping up so many things you've seen about Atlanta, or heard about Atlanta if you're not from that area, and of course if you're from that area, it was things you were all like kind of familiar with. Maybe not the best representation, but still, it's that kind of level of iconic where if you go back and look at ATL now, every scene has so much different things tied into what's going on in the scenes. It's culture on top of culture on top of culture in ATL. I love that movie. I mean, I love T.I., but still, I love that movie. So, it's just like jaw dropping. And this is what that reminds me of. And I mean, I'm, older millennial, younger millennial, middle millennial, centennial is what we call them, because I was born in the 80s. So, but not young enough to have experienced Michael Jackson at his top. You know what I mean? And so I don't really have anything to compare that to except, this cultural thing, like I said, with ATL, which really, really dug down into black culture in the South, was really, really explicit and authentic at the same time. So this was definitely what I felt like. All right. We haven't had a where were you when the video dropped moment like this since Thriller. Exactly. Thriller, one of the greatest music videos ever. I don't think I was alive at the time, but I've seen that music video several thousand times. People have imitated it, all kinds of stuff. I can't think of a video that had, even in modern times, like that has had that kind of an impact. So I personally believe that it is sort of tied to the legacy of Michael Jackson, and you can believe it or disbelieve it, but I for sure think that Dot was tapping into some Michael Jackson energy, especially if you guys think about Dirty Diana, which I came across my timeline on Twitter the other day, and first of all, I think that song is about Diana Ross, and if you don't know about Michael Jackson and Diana Ross was grooming Michael Jackson basically, and I'm assuming he figured it out. He made this iconic song Dirty Diana, but he hated to the fullest extent of hate. Michael Jackson was not playing around. If you did him dirty, he wasn't playing no games. He went to the fullest extent. A lot of his stuff he didn't do like disses, which would be weird for pop artists. I mean, we have Chris Brown who does disses all the times now. But anyway, another way Chris Brown is tied into Michael Jackson is by that. But so we don't have singers doing disses like that, like iconic disses, although Dirty Diana is an iconic diss. So this is a unique to rap culture, which we've had lots of rap disses with T.I. delivering an absolutely brutal rap diss to the Shorty Low. Anyway, many rap disses, okay? That's just, I'm a T.I. fan, so that's what came to mind. But this is like, and the diss was super iconic, and then to put a super iconic, extremely cultural video on top of it that people just innately are engaged with is also, amazing. All right. The fact that the Blood and Crip colors on the dancers match up with Independence Day colors is crazy. This is how again, all of this is tied together. They could have picked any colors, and there are other quote-unquote gangs that have quote-unquote other colors. So we're not talking about them. Let's talk about these red and blue. This is the most iconic gang battle in the country, is the red versus the blue. Just like it is with the Democrats versus Republicans. And guess what? They all come together on Independence Day to celebrate the country. So this is the kind of energy that is going on with this video. It's going on in this country, and it's been going on since the beginning. This is how there's one group of people that actually direct the culture, and then there's other people that follow the culture. And we, quote unquote, the people are the ones who are leading this culture. This is two parts. The way that Kendrick has approached this is a masterclass on how to respond. The beginning, calling out what's cat while stating that you own your IP and addressing the foot allegations is wild. This is in that little snippet that he played, and we're going to talk about that. Then the cultural nods that Drake knows nothing about: the old school living room, plastic on the sofa, block party, neighborhood restaurant, and hopscotch to A minor, stating that not only is Drake a culture vulture, but also alleging he's messing with children. Diabolical. The push-ups on the Submit Drake song and K-Dot is strong. No plastic surgery while locked up. Wow. Of course, Whitney is dancing to the song that destroyed Drake in this beef. It's priceless. Dave Freed co-directing. Woo. The scene with a dude trying to creep up on K-Dot and he's blown away by some entity. K-Dot is the boogeyman who can't be touched, and Drake is predictable. Top tier. Listen, that's what they afraid with the melanated people's giving you goosebumps. This is what people are afraid of with our people. We are unpredictable. They want to get us into this box of predictability, and they cannot. They have tried over and over and over again to turn different ones of our people into the Messiah or the Savior of our people and have us follow along with them. And it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked in any of the iterations. And even though I do believe that people believe that, the first one that they did this to our people in modern times would be, of course, Frederick Douglass. And it didn't work. Like, we didn't all line up behind. People thought, oh, he was the leader of the Negroes, of course, obviously. But if you've heard any of my theory on African American or Black history, Negro history is what I really call it. And that was my major in college, was African American studies. And I'm very much tied into the actual history of this country. I'm from Maryland, 10 plus generations. I have a lot of direct experience with this history that people just look at it like, oh, it's just history. No, my grandfather worked in the Capitol. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, my great-great-great-grandfather. Okay, like, I am very, very, very much tied in with the history of this country, and that's just on one side. On the other side, I'm from Frederick Douglass land, so I'm tied in with this. So my theory is that Frederick Douglass and Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, looked the same. They looked very similar. And when they were doing their quote unquote debates, because they were just written, but then they started to campaign together. Well, I don't think they were campaigning together. I think it was they were campaigning all over the place as the same person. They were cosplaying. So that's my understanding of what's going on, because if you go to Kirimo, he has talked extensively about the actual first-hand accounts of what Lincoln looked like, and to me those descriptions sound like Frederick Douglass, and plus Frederick Douglass was the most photographed person in the 1800s. Why? For what reason? So anyway, even when they were trying to get our people to follow after the Negro King of Frederick Douglass, and then the Negro King of Booker T. Washington and W.B. Du Bois, none of these things worked. We never really fell all the way in line. And you know that's true because they had to create secret societies, i.e. the Divine Nine, Pan-Hellenistic society culture thing, groups, in order to figure out how to control the quote-unquote Negroes. Like, they could never figure out how to, so then they just said, okay, we're going to create our own groups and we're going to be in charge of them. So that's how they did it. They literally stole the spiritual inheritance of our people and put them with these fraternal organizations, the Greek fraternal organizations. Now, there were other fraternal organizations at the time, like the Odd Fellows, the Masons, so on and so forth. Those ones was not taking the power, the spiritual power from the people. Those ones was just siphoning off spiritual power from the people. So there's a difference between stealing the inheritance and siphoning the power off from the people to your organizations. Two totally different things going on, and that's what was happening. So we've been getting attacked from both sides, all sides spiritually, really, since before Reconstruction. The Odd Fellows is quite old. I can't remember the name of the other one. The Odd Fellows is the one that comes to mind. They're quite an old organization. And don't get me started on insurance, because insurance, life insurance and stuff like that, was basically mostly ran by these secret fraternal organizations. And so that's just another video. But anyway, we are their boogeyman, and you could just tell by how they treat our people that they are always trying to stay ahead. And that's what they did with Drake. They tried to control the direction of our culture, and they have been very successful. But there's people who don't like that, and you now have this culmination of this anti-Drake rap culture and all the morals and values that Drake brought to the rap game, finally culminating with this anger, hatred, video that's just pure hate. Okay, Bring back the hype around music videos. Haven't seen people gather around for a music video drop in what feels like forever. Probably I don't know how long actually, because I don't really like music videos. I'm trying to think of a music video that I saw. But anyway, definitely is a testament to how quickly this song took over such a large amount of people in such a short time span. That is because this song is nothing but pure light magic. 100%, all the way around. And I'll talk about that when we get to the astrology. That family scene was just precious. This was deeper than beef. This is legacy. Exactly. And our legacy is we will fight back. We're not going to continue to sit back and let you drag us around the mud, drag us around the dirt. We're going to wait until the time is right. The spirit moves. There's a Negro spiritual. I'm going to I'm going to sing till the spirit moves in my heart. Like, that's what this is. Like, I'm going to strike when the spirit moves on my heart. Like, we are going to be fighting back. This is, see, with the Cat Williams thing, that was just one person, that was one interview that was real isolated and people were watching it. With this Not Like Us video, all of Compton was out there. And I've talked to people who are from that area. That's how I got some of my information that we're going to discuss. Everybody was out there. Everybody was out there for that music video. And what they were saying it all together, like a chorus, like a choir of people telling you others that you're not like us. And wasn't about color. It's about culture. Did you really live the life? I saw Hispanics in there. I mean, even he had whites and Hispanic dancers in the little courtroom scene. It was very diverse. I mean, for a song that's allegedly supposed to be like all about black power, it was surprisingly diverse. You would think that he would go out of his way to only have, one kind of person. That's not what happened. Nobody was turned away. You can tell, because if they were, people would be crying about it now. The only people who were crying were those gangsters, COINTELPRO gangsters from the Latin gangs that were upset they weren't on stage. Not going to bring you on stage when we're talking about a particular culture. Again, you don't have not experienced our culture. You still eat, your cultural food, and you don't get involved with our culture, which is fine. And so the weird, anyway, I'm just going to keep listening. All right. So you're telling me bro cooked up a whole music video, waited 2 whole months in complete silence to release it on Independence Day. Kendrick is diabolical, and we're going to go into the etymology of that diabolical, because that is the number one most used term in describing Kendrick. And I feel like y'all need to know what the etymology of that word is. All right. So let's get into is this in the right place? Yeah. Let's get into the video. Now, if you don't know who this is, and this is when I watched the video, obviously, it was at 5 million views. It's well over 20 million views now. If you don't know who this is, because I did not know who this was, this is Tommy the Clown. Okay? Tommy the Clown is a Compton staple. You had birthday parties. Tommy the Clown would show up. He also is involved in arts in Compton and LA. And so this is a well-known staple. Like, you were going to see Tommy the Clown, for sure. And so, I didn't know, I wasn't sure if people knew this. I did not know this, so I had to, I wanted to make sure I brought this up. All right, so again, you have the red and the blue. If anybody knows where I can purchase one of these shirts, I would sure like to get one. And the fact that it's like 4 dots, like that's the little, when we'll see, what we saw in the beginning, it has like 4 dots. But even look, Girls Don't Cry, her 444, her tattoos are very, very, very symbolic. And so there's a reason why they had her. And she has on, I didn't even notice this, she has on red and blue. literal gang tags too. This is the most iconic picture of the video, in my opinion. As far as iconic is concerned, this is it right here. And I definitely want one of these shirts. So anybody can tell me where I can get one. Please link it in the bio. I mean, in the comment section, link me where I can get this video. And even just the girls don't cry, like, shocking. Trying to remember why I put this in this order here. Oh, all right. Let me go back here. Okay, so sorry, I got out of order. So the first scene, and now we're going to do some of the symbology. Okay, the first scene was in an office building. I'm gonna tell y'all what office building that was. I do believe I forgot to put that in here. What that the actual picture of the office building, but it's okay. We'll talk about it without showing it. Okay, so in the first scene, it's in an office building. I just wanted to point out that, Dot is comfortable in every scene. There's no scene where he's out of place, where he looks like he's not supposed to be there. He goes into the court thing. He looks like he's supposed to be there. He goes in with the big giant crowd. You can barely pick him out because he looks like he's supposed to be there. He goes to the food restaurant. He looks like he's supposed to be there. Except he's driving a Maserati, but still, he looks like he's supposed to be there. When he's dancing, in front of the building, he looks like he's supposed to be there. When he's, the boogeyman comes to snatch that person away, he looks like he's supposed to be there. He is comfortable in every scene because he's comfortable in his skin. You can't be comfortable in every scene if you're not comfortable in your skin. And I don't want that to be missed because he is literally comfortable in every scene, like every single scene, okay? The knock, the black knock, everybody, I was like, nobody said anything about the knock, and then finally someone did. That knock, that's classic Negro knock. Like, I don't know if other cultures do that knock. I know that's what the knock we do. Like, if I hear somebody knock at the door, I know that it's a fellow person, okay, who is familiar with my culture. I'm totally aware of that, okay? I taught my kids that knock. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you know. It's not even, it's just, that's just so cultural that it could easily be missed. So I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. Okay, Tommy the Clown. Oh, let me also point out that this video, 4th of July, marked his 25th anniversary in the community. I saw one of the commenters say that, and he focuses on the importance of art in the community. So he's like I already said, he's a staple, but he's a heavy staple. Okay, so I'm just gonna go on. Then you have Kendrick in all white, and then when the next scene comes, he's in all black. And this is about the duality that I mentioned. Like, you can't be light without the darkness, and you can't be darkness without the light. And so he is using both sides, and he's making that evident in this video. Now, the whole boogeyman thing is utilizing the unseen forces to carry out judgment, or probably using the elementals. He didn't do anything. He was just standing there, and whatever that was came and snatched that person before he could attack him. So, mind you, he was getting attacked, just like in this video. Drake was attacking him, saying, drop down and give me 50. Like, oh, your wife, you beat your wife. Oh, your child is not your child. Like, what? Who does that? Who does that? So, again, this was not personal. This was the elementals, the angels, whoever showing up and saying, enough is enough of this person attacking you. We're going to do something about this. And we're going to make it final. Because one thing about that scene where Kendrick is in all black, we never see that scene. Now, every other scene is repeated multiple times, right? He's in the white room several times. He's in the crowd with all the people several times. He's in front of the building with the people several times. He's several times with DJ Mustard. Like, he's even several times in front of the shipping containers. That scene with the black, he is only there once. That is one scene, and that's it. Okay, there's no more of that scene after that scene is done. So I want to point that out. Okay, in the intro snippet, I did want to add that he talks about IP ownership, which one of the commenters mentioned, and also he says the blueprint is by me. And without going into too much like diatribe on Jay-Z, right? Because that's when I hear blueprint, I think Jay-Z, because he is the one that, really has a whole album, the blueprint and all of this stuff. But so without going into too much of a Jay-Z diatribe, the blueprint is by me. The blueprint is in me. It's in him. It's not like the blueprint. It's not like the blueprint can be separated from who he is. And what I don't like about Jay-Z and the way that he describes his blueprint is that he gave the blueprint to everyone. He turned around and gave it to everybody. We still don't know exactly how Dot did this. Like, I'm just saying it's magic because I don't have any other words to describe this. But think about the impossibility that it is for you to drop a video, drop a song that becomes an instant forever hit. They will be playing this song when I'm, 90 years old. If They Not Like Us comes on, I'll be trying to get up and crip walk. Like, I don't even know how to crip walk. I might have to actually learn. This is what I'm even thinking. Maybe I need to learn how to crip walk so that I could be able to participate in this song. Like, I think I'm gonna have to learn how to crip walk. This is crazy. Like, this is a classic. Like, if you're from the culture, Before I Let You Go. Like, if this is classic like that, like, should you be saying Before I Let You Go at 17? Probably not. 16, 12, maybe not. Like, maybe not. But are you screaming, Before I Let You Go? Like, are you screaming at the top of your lungs at a party? Absolutely. 100%. It is what it is. Matter of fact, when I was in high school, that was the last song. Like, when we had dances at school, which I don't think the kids have dances anymore, that was always the last song that was played. Before I Let Go. And the whole school who was at the dance would be singing that song. Everyone knew that song. That's what Not Like Us is. Literally everybody is going to be singing. Like, there's no getting around it. There's not a more iconic song than this right now. And that's another word that's being thrown around as iconic. I didn't do the etymology on that, but you can only imagine, okay? All right, so Drake hasn't given away, not Drake. Dot has not given away his blueprint on how he did this. We do know that he can do it again. So the thing about Dot is, like, he has never made like popular music. Like, it's not music that you would listen to on the radio. It's more like conscious music, and he might have a, drop a verse or something on a more quote unquote popular music song, but he never really been into the whole popular music thing. And so this is, to me, a sign that he knows how to do it. It's not that he didn't know how to do it. Like, he always knew how to do it. He just didn't. And if you know any Geminis, that sounds about right. They know how to do stuff, but they just don't. Until they get the feeling that it's time to, do something like that, it will be in their best interest. Geminis, it will talk more about this when I talk about the astrology, but Geminis really keep an ear to the skies, to the dome, to see what messages is coming out, and they go with that. And that could be to their detriment or to their benefit, but in this case, it's to the benefit. Okay. All right. So now we're on this song. They have the USA colors on. Not only is it the USA colors, again, it's the gang colors, the Crips and the Bloods. And literally, just to make sure you don't miss that it's the Crips and the Bloods, she literally has on a blue and a red scarf. That's what it's a scarf. I couldn't remember what it's called. So, and even it's outlined in black. That brings in the Vice Lords, which, there's some Not to leave out the Vice Lords, okay? We know they're not the only, the Crips and the Bloods are not the only ones, or whatever. So, all right. Oh, we'll talk about this in a minute. Okay, so in the jail scene, which it looks like he's in a jail, obviously, someone counted the push-ups and said he did 17. I can't confirm or deny that. I did not count the push-ups because I can't count that like that. He was going way too fast. I would have to slow it way down. But he did 17 push-ups allegedly, and I saw a video on Twitter with Drake with someone's little sister. I don't know whose little sister he was with, but they were doing some kind of whatever video, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, how Drake fans can excuse his behavior is, I don't know what to say. It was very disturbing to see a grown man in his, cornrows, alleging to be a culture because he got cornrows, with this little child, and she was clearly like 10, and of course this hopscotch award goes up to 10. So anyway, somebody pointed out that, actually one of my coworkers pointed out that this is very similar to This Is America, and I think that's by I don't know if it's Childish Gambino or I can't remember his name, but y'all know This Is America. Because remember, in This Is America by Glover, his name is Donald Glover. I don't know his rap name because I never listened to his music. And I only seen This Is America. I didn't actually like engage in it because it was so it was so clownish in how America really is. But if y'all remember, you have the scene where he's in like this room, and the lighting, especially in the beginning, it's got the vibe of that when he was in the concrete room and he shot the guy and all the weird stuff was going on. It was just too weird to me. Like, this is making a similar kind of commentary, similar, but it's also showing the good side of America. And this is my problem with certain artists who are anti-America, socialists, whatever. They only show the bad sides of America. Dot showed the bad side, but he also juxtaposed it against the good side. And again, it's the lightness and the dark. You have to do both sides. When you can, you have to do both sides, and a lot of them, they skip it. All right. Do I have the pinata scene in here? Boy, I don't even have the pinata scene. Okay, all right. I don't have the pinata scene. I forgot to get that picture too. So in the pinata scene, right? Dot has on glitter pants. Now, I could have sworn I seen Michael Jackson in a pair of pants like that. Now, I could not confirm with anyone else that they got the Michael Jackson feeling from that, but I did, especially in light of this whole Dirty Diana and how Mike used to always, when he went back at somebody, it was all, he did not let a single word come out that he didn't take his revenge on. He just didn't do that. His revenge was much more subtle, like I said, than like a Chris Brown who will come into the club and fight you. He'll just do something like buy all your masters. Or like with Sony, try to buy out the whole company, which ultimately led to his untimely demise anyway. I wonder what's on his shirt. Anyway, so I think that is just, just to me, that scene is a mental representation of what, celebrities, especially like Michael Jackson, have done to take their revenge. They beat you publicly, but they don't beat you exactly. They just make you look like a fool, and that, a fool. All right, now we're at the hopscotch, okay? So I'm gonna talk about this a little bit because I do have somewhere else in here. Hold on. Here we go. So in this scene where he's doing the hopscotch thing, he is channeling this particular skateboarder. And you can go to her Twitter handle and watch the video. So in this video, you have the skateboarder. He is, I don't, people have seen this. Like, I've never seen this because I'm not, I haven't, I'm just not I don't consume culture in this fashion through these videos and stuff like that. But apparently, this particular, I mean, obviously, it's the same angle and everything, so you can't pretend like he's not channeling this dude. But this guy, he's talking about another skateboarder, and he's like, that skateboarder is terrible. I didn't see him do this. I ain't seen him do that. I didn't see him do this. Like, he just, I'm losing my voice. He's just going in on this other skateboarder. Like, he is talking about him bad. In the meantime, he's doing all these tricks. The video was sliced up with him doing all these tricks on the skateboard. Some, skateboarding is terrifying to me. Personally, because I don't have good coordination. So I really admire those people who can do this kind of stuff. But yeah, Dot is really like channeling this guy. Like, there's no way of, like, the hair is just, it's just the same. And so just talking about, the guy is just literally going on this other skateboarder saying, I ain't seen him do this, I didn't see that. That's whack. That's whack. Like, literally over and over. And obviously this is a California dude, so more into the culture, that Drake wouldn't understand, because it's not his culture. All right, so the car scene, here we go. Now I'm caught back up with my pictures. I had notes, but I didn't put my notes with my pictures. I thought I did, but I have way more notes than I thought. So in this scene, many viewers, commenters, said, and even people I talked to said that this was channeling the whole Tupac and Suge sort of pictures, or whatever. And just in general, this is a diss to Drake as well, because, now don't give me the line, I don't know if he was with Suge or who he was with. This is my guess, because I wasn't like involved in the whole Tupac thing. I was like 6 at the time. I never listened to rap music until 99, so I have no frame of reference for the Tupac thing. So if I'm saying the wrong person, that's just what I remember hearing, and I hope I got it right. Please don't come for me in the comments. I'm just making the general whatever commentary. But okay, and if I get anything wrong, just don't come for me. Like, just in the comments, let me know what I said that was not correct. Because I'm not an expert at this. I'm an esotericist. I'm just giving you the culture because I looked at what people were saying, and I feel like it needs to be put into one cohesive place to remember, just like with the Cat Williams commentary I made, and so they could all be in one place. That way, if they take the video, the cultural pieces of it will still be alive to tell the story. Okay. All right. Apparently Drake had gone to LA and done a similar scene, and did a similar scene. So them doing this scene is literally just another diss at Drake. And of course, this is a Maserati. So, oh man, I don't have the, okay, here we go. All right. So this scene with the elevator here behind all the people in the crowd. So it's like, to me, this scene is kind of saying like, hey, if you want to get to the top, because right behind them is this office building, which I'll tell you what it is. We get to that part. Hey, the elevator's here if you want to go to the top, but you got to go through all these niggas first. Like, and I feel like that's exactly what it is. Like, and this is a recurring theme in this video. Like, in order to get to this mythical top of the food chain, top of the pyramid, you have to go through the people, and the people are going to elevate you. And it's almost like a because since Drake, it hasn't been the people elevating the rappers. It's been the labels, it's been the corporations, it's been even the government. elevating certain rappers, paying certain rappers. They do have a program where they pay these rappers to be ambassadors, and D1 is in that program, and Lecrae, and a few other ones. So they do pay these rappers, right? And so this is a recalibration of that. Now the people will elevate you. Dot is only being elevated because the people are elevating him. It's certainly not the corporations elevating him. No, it's the people that are saying, put him at the top right now. Like, overnight sensation. How many views? 5 million views. Like, it's the people doing that. It's not the corporations. And so this is a reestablishment that if you want to get to the top, you have to go through the people. To me, that's what it's saying. All right, so let's keep going, man. We're almost done with this part. So that a local food restaurant, which is again normal hood activity, again still comfortable in everything. He's in a Maserati. He's still smiling and comfortable. He drives a Maserati to a mom and pop walk-in. He's still comfortable again because he's comfortable in his skin. All right, in the warehouse scene, the dancers in the warehouse scene, I wanted to point out that one of them was famous from when he was younger dancing, and you can find that video over on Twitter as well. He's clearly this same guy, the one that is not in the beanie, the one in the white shirt. The other one has a white sweater. So the one in the white shirt that was dancing, he was famous from another video. And now Dot is in a suit, still comfortable. He has not been uncomfortable in any of these scenes. And if people who don't know who that tall guy is, he is DeRozan. Everybody thought Dot was saying DeRose, but he said DeRozan. And DeRozan was Toronto's top player. But he's from Compton, so he took Kendrick's side. And if many of y'all know or don't know, Drake has his own club inside of the Raptors, whatever game thing, stadium or basketball court building. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry. But Drake has his own club there, his literal own club. And so this guy, DeRozan, he was allegedly friends with Drake. And this is what a lot of the anti-Dot people, because they're all anti-Kendrick people, and this is what their point is. It's like all these people are turning against Drake, but they was just cool with Drake. It's like, yeah, but they're all like going with the culture. You have these people, if you were elevated by the people, then you have to go with what the people are saying. And this is what I think. I don't want to call it loser behavior, because I don't necessarily think these people think that they're losers, but it's loser behavior not to understand that if the crowd is shouting, like just like in Jesus' time, when the crowd is shouting, Barabbas, give us Barabbas, what did Pilate do? He gave him Barabbas. Okay, this is how it goes. Whatever the crowd is shouting, this is why I believe, anyway, we just won't go into that. Whatever the crowd is shouting, that's what the celebrities, the famous people, that's what they have to go along with. And in the case of DeRozan, he's literally from Compton. So, of course, he would be going with Dot. Like, what am I going to choose? This guy who I met when I was famous from someone who I have an actual cultural identity with. I share a cultural identity with. No. And that's part of the problem. Some of these people, the pro-Drake people who are basically anti-Dot people, they really don't like Dot because they don't believe that Dot represents the culture. And I don't agree with that. I think he does represent the culture and not from my perspective, but when I talk to people who are from LA, specifically from Compton, which I know I know way more people from Compton than most people, because I do, okay? Which is really surprising. I know a lot of people from California, but I know a lot of people specifically from Compton, was around for the Rodney King riots and all of that. Dot acts just like them. And I think people who are from the East Coast snobs and supremacists, they don't get West Coast stuff. And I can admit I don't get West Coast stuff either. This is why I was not really a Pac fan. I was like a Biggie fan, because I don't get the West Coast thing. Like, I don't understand wearing a suit in 100-degree weather, but it's not 100 degrees in California. Their weather is different. It's cold because the Pacific is cold. You don't get on the Pacific and swim in the Pacific. It's cold. We don't understand that in the Atlantic because the Atlantic is hot. And so you just got different stuff going on, and it's very difficult for people to understand that their culture is not supreme. And this is the problem I have with the divine nine persons, is that they believe that their culture is supreme, but the culture that they believe is supreme is East Coast culture. You know, original 13 colonies culture. The West Coast culture is totally different. And so you can't, it's not that they can't mix, because I do believe that they can mix. But what you can't do is be mad that somebody else is engaged in a different kind of culture than you. And basically, anyway, that's just not the way you handle it, okay? All right, so, oh, and also, you got the trafficking reference with the shipping containers. Everyone is pointing that out. Hopefully y'all can understand what I mean. All right, so then after this you have the tightrope scene, which I don't believe I got a picture of, but everyone saw it. I thought it was an anomaly. I said, well, why did I got a tightrope scene? And what they're saying while she's doing this tightrope thing, or what they say before she does a tightrope, is that the city back up, we back outside. And so the woman, she's shaky at first, then she regains the balance, and then she starts showing off. This is, again, I think there's a lot of, I personally think that this video is about protecting women in general, because Drake is a predator, okay? Not allegedly. Not allegedly. He is a predator. You can see it in many, many videos. There's many, many examples. There's no alleged about it. And so the prominent featuring of women is really it's not lost on me, especially in this scene. In this scene, there's literally one woman who literally is shaky at first, and she regains her confidence and her abilities. She remembers who she is, and then she gets to quit walking on a tightrope. I've never seen anything like that. I'm pretty sure that was CGI, because I've literally never seen that before. But yeah, this is unheard of. And so I just wanted to point that out, that she regains her her confidence. And also this is about women. All these women were fully clothed, you know what I mean? They were dressed nice. They were in tight clothes, but they were fully clothed. This is also the black woman, and just women in general, who have been impacted negatively by Drake's, stripper culture that he forced upon all of hip hop, coming back into their senses and saying, this is not me. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna shine my light so bright that it can't be missed. And that's what I got from that scene. Okay. Okay, the settlers and colonizer scene. We're gonna talk about this. All right, so he says that all of us were in chains. He's not specifically saying it was just blacks. It was just this. He said when we all were in chains. Now, of course, if you're a black person, you'll take that as black, but all people of the planet have been in chains. All of us have been slaves, not just black people in America. And especially if you're from the West Coast, it's possible you were never in chains, because, again, the West Coast was not a part of the slave, the quote unquote Atlantic slave trade, because they were on the West Coast. They had slave trade that was going on with China and India. So they got a totally different thing going on the West Coast. And so I appreciated the fact that he separated it out, because Atlantic supremacists or colonists, the black people who are from the East Coast, who are supremacists of the East Coast culture, believing everyone had to experience the East Coast culture, which is not true. Those people need to be put back in their place. This is not just FBA people. This is not just Hoteps and African, Pan-Africans. This is all people who are from the East Coast who believe everybody endured the same struggles as the East Coast. They did not. So this narrative that Dot tells of what happened is accurate, and it applies to everyone. When you make it about the slave trade, that only applies to a very small group of people on the East Coast. Definitely doesn't apply to the West Coast because they had issues and stuff going on, like I said, with Asia. So why you wouldn't even put them in the same category, and yet people who are supremacists to the East Coast and to the colonies, they believe that everyone came from the slave trade. Even the ones who don't believe we came here from the slave trade believe that everyone came from the slave trade. Weird. Okay. So then it references the town folk. No hard slavery cap, meaning there's no hard slavery or everyone was a slave. Again, like I said, this is an American issue. What he's describing is an American problem. Americans do this. Go in, take over places, so on and so forth. Okay. And so I also wanted to mention that all the female dancers were featured. All the female dancers had a part that they did by themselves. Not all the male dancers did, which is okay. But all the including the white or Latino girl, all of the female dancers had a chance to dance on their own. All of them. Okay, which is again rare. And then this is my favorite part of this. Oh, the men have on Tommy the Clown shirts. I was wondering what that said. Okay, and then this is the tallest dancer. He's referencing 2 Chainz. I find this to be hilarious. You know, 2 Chainz is probably one of the tallest rappers there is. And so using the tallest dancer they have in the 2 Chainz references. Hilarious. All right, moving on. All right, so in this family scene, looks like grandma's house. Every grandma's house, like the person mentioned, they even have the family pictures in the background. I'm sure those are pictures of his family. Of course, you have his wife here. His little girl looks exactly like him. Like, I'm just trying to understand how they said this child looked like somebody else. She's got his nose and everything. I don't get it. You know, whatever. And people said about this scene, oh, she looks forced. Oh, I'm like, no. And somebody was like, oh, you can tell co-parenting. As a person who co-parents, I would not be in a room with my child's father dancing with them and I just wouldn't do that. And so that all that talk is like gone. Like y'all are reaching because you're not parents, you're not co-parents. Some co-parents may do that, but nah, I don't think so. You wouldn't do that. And so again, I think that these, colonizers are really, there's a lot of different levels of colonization, and a lot of these people are patriarchal colonizers, meaning they're saying that Drake is black because his father's black, but everyone knows that the bloodline passes through the mother, and so his mother is not black, and so he's not black. And people are trying to say, no, he is black because his father. It's like, no, his mother's not black, so he's not black. I'm sorry. That's how I feel about it, because the bloodline passes through the mother, not through the father. And the bloodline is the culture. The culture passes through the mother. The mother is the one, oh my goodness, the mother is the one who teaches culture. The mother is the one who teaches culture, not the father. The father does not teach culture. The mother does. And so he doesn't have the culture because his mother did not teach him the culture, because she could not teach him culture, okay? Now there's a lot of iconic scenes. This is one of the most iconic scenes because it has multiple meanings. This is a meaning I've seen no one say but me, because I remember Kendrick is also a Pulitzer winner. Someone else who's a Pulitzer Prize winner is Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou has a poem called I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. He has a caged bird. How this is going over people's heads, I don't know. But this is clearly a reference to the fact that he literally has the awards to prove that his lyrics are what they are, that he can out lyricized Drake. Period. He is a Pulitzer Prize winner. There's no other. He's the first rapper who was a Pulitzer Prize winner. The only rapper who's a Pulitzer Prize winner. So I don't care what people say about Drake's lyrics. They're not. He's not a Pulitzer Prize winner. He could not win a Pulitzer Prize. He's not making serious social economic commentary. And something I wanted to look up was, let me look up the poem, because I did want to read it before we get into our next thing. All right, so actually, it's a book. It's her autobiography. I thought it was it's an autobiography. So, and it was also a movie. And so I'm just going to read the synopsis. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings is a 1969 autobiography describing the young and early years of American writer and poet Maya Angelou. This is the first in a 7-volume series. It is a coming-of-age story that illustrates how strength of character and a love of literature can help overcome racism and trauma. The book begins with 3-year-old Maya and her older brother are sent to Stance, Arkansas to live with their grandmother, and ends when Maya becomes a mother at the age of 16. In the course of Caged Bird, Maya transforms from a victim of racism with an inferiority complex into a self-possessed, dignified young woman capable of responding to prejudice. And look how Dot responds to the prejudice. He literally puts their bird in a cage. Like he puts the owl in a cage. Now, y'all may think this next point is a reach, and I would understand you. Right after that, I saw this, and it says, to save the West Coast spotted owls, U.S. officials plan to use trained shooters to kill hundreds of thousands of barred owls. I can't make this up, but that owl on the right looks like this owl to me. Very, very similar, if not the same. And so to save the West Coast spotted owls, and it's indicative of what the point of this is. In order to save the West Coast owls, the literal owls that are native to the West Coast, to the Americas, they have to kill these other owls. So I don't know how Kendrick could possibly know this, do this, whatever this is. This seems impossible to me, but this was on 7/3. You know, this was the day before that. How could you do this? It's not possible. This is what I mean. This is a kind of magic we've never seen before, or haven't seen it in a very, very long time. And then I already talked about this. All right, so let's talk about this etymology. So this will be pretty quick. So the term everyone keeps using is diabolical, okay? Diabolical is literally the most used word in relation to this video from my perspective. Everyone is saying Kendrick is diabolical, the video is diabolical, certain scenes are diabolical, okay? So this is the Proto-Indo-European root word of diabolical, which is guele, and it means to throw or reach with an extended sense or to pierce. If Drake didn't deliver the final blow, if Kendrick Dot didn't deliver the final blow to Drake, I don't know what else you would say. So, is he diabolical? Yes, he is dealt the pierce to the side of, that he has delivered the pierce to the side of Drake. He cannot come back. There's no hope for him returning back. There's no hope, right? So let's read. It is a hypothetical source of evidence for its existence provided by Sanskrit apagura, or swinging, coming out swinging. He's swinging at Drake. Balabalti, whirls, twirls, Greek ballion or ballerina, to throw so as to hit. Also in a looser sense, to put, place, lay. bow, a throw, beam, array, belemnon, dart, javelin, belone, needle, balizine, to dance on his grave, Kalim, Armenian Kalim, I torture, Old Church, Slavonic, Zali, or pain, Lithuanian, Galas, or end, Gala, agony, Galeti, to sting. All of these things can describe what has been done to Drake by this video, and just by this whole battle. So I think that when you're using diabolical in this term, in this way, this is true. It's totally diabolical. Okay. All right, let's get started with the astrology for Kendrick Lamar. We're not going to go too deep into this. I just want to point out a few things that are relevant. Kendrick is a Gemini, obviously, but he's a Libra rising, and his a rising or ascendant. He's a Libra rising, and he's a Pisces moon. So that is unusual in and of itself. And something else that I'll point out is he has a grand trine in his chart between Pluto, Pluto, or Pallas, Athena, but Pluto for sure. It's not an exact trine, it's not exact. But between Pluto, between the moon, and between Mars and Pluto together already is like a huge, huge red flag. And also Mercury. So that is Pluto, Mercury, Mars, the moon. His inner world is off the charts. His ability to die and be reborn is off the charts. And his Pluto is in Scorpio. My Pluto is also in Scorpio. My Pluto is also my first planet in my first house. And so people with Pluto in the first house are very much, I would say, frequently engaging in death and rebirth. Shedding old parts of themselves and putting on new parts. And people who don't have this Pluto in the first house, a lot of them don't get it. They're like, oh, you're just trying to be like someone else. But no, it's like that part doesn't serve me anymore. So now I'm going to be another person. That's what's going on. And a lot of people don't get that. And so because I also have this placement in Scorpio in my first house, not just degree, but I understand. Like, I was like instantly like, oh, okay, I get what's going on. I never really understood this part, but now I get it. So those are two things. Those are two major things to point out. And his Neptune is at 24 degrees. And I believe for this music video, Neptune is at 25 degrees. So his natal Neptune by degree is activated. Not by sign, by degree is activated. Because his native Neptune is at 24. And we're at 25 degrees of Neptune now. I'll bet you anything when we started this battle, Neptune was... not started this battle, but when Not Like Us dropped, the actual song dropped, Neptune was at 24 degrees by number, not by sign. So this is the chart for the music video. The video dropped at 7:05 p.m. I said it dropped from California because that's where he's from. And that's where most of the video was shot, in California. So I could not find the exact time the video dropped, so I had to use sources from Twitter who reposted it as soon as it came out. We're going with 7:05. So I would say this is the birth chart of the music video. And the reason why we want to look at this is because again, in this, Pluto is the first planet. Pluto's at 1 degree of Aquarius. It's the first planet in this chart. So you have the ascendant is Sagittarius. If you know anything about the American Sibley chart, America's ascendant is also a Sagittarius, so this is a very, very similar chart to the founding of America as far as that is concerned. As far as a lot of things is concerned, because July the 4th is the birthday of America. I would say that this is the birth of Black America when this video dropped. We're just going to say that. So this is important, historical document to have out there. But I want to point out that Jupiter, okay, it's a couple planetary things going on. Jupiter is at 9 degrees of Gemini, and it is on a planet conjunct basically with not a planet, but a fixed star called Aldebaran. Okay? And Aldebaran is the eye of the bull of Taurus. It's the right eye. And this particular star, Aldebaran, is known as the most auspicious or most favorable star there is. Like, there's not a more favorable star than Aldebaran. And we're going to read a little bit about it. I don't want to go into too much of it, except to say that before I read about Aldebaran, no, let me go ahead and read about Aldebaran. Give me one moment. Let me pull that up. I already have it open. That's alcohol. Here's Aldebaran. All right, so I'm not going to read the whole article, but it is taken from this book. Aldebaran is from Aldebaran, the follower of the Pleiades, a group of stars in Taurus. The name, now originally monopolized by the star, was originally given to the entire group of the Hyades and the lunar mansion as the Nair Aldebaran, bright one of the follower. Our star marked, yet there was diversity of opinion as to this in the first edition of some of these books. That's about the name. All right. So this, I'm trying to find where it says it was mentioned in this book. Okay. Aldebaran was a divine star in the worship of the tribe of Misam, who thought that it brought rain, and that its hilalical, I always say that word wrong, rising unattended by showers portended a barren year. So they use this star for a lot of stuff. All right. Okay. In all astrology, it has been thought eminently fortunate, pretending riches and honor, and was one of the 4 royal stars or guardians of the sky of Persia 5,000 years ago, when it marked the vernal equinox. As such, the vernal equinox is what we just went through. It's the time of equal light and dark. Or the solstice, as we now call it, when it's really the equinox. As such, Flammarion quoted its title, Tashter, which Lorman signified the creator spirit that caused rain and deluge, but a different conception of these guardian stars among the Hindus is noted under Argo. Okay. It had a lot of different names. This goes through all the different names. I don't want to confuse you guys with too much because it's a lot. It's called the bullseye. The center of a target usually carries the highest score, a precise or highly effective achievement. So this name, Aldebaran, is also mentioned in a book called The Fairy Queen, which is a book that was written by Edmund Spenser, published in 1590. And Sir Walter Raleigh was the patron. And if you know anything about Sir Walter Raleigh, oh Lord. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all of that. It's just Sir Walter Raleigh was a very, very central figure to the creation of the state of Maryland. And just in general, okay, sorry about that. He was very central figure in the creation of the quote unquote America that we have today. So, as you can see, developed into 12 books, and number 12 is moral virtues, and it's mentioned in this book, and this is where it's mentioned. This is X 1016. 16. Now, spelled differently. Aldebaran was, I'm not going to read it in this language. I put it into Poe and got a English, a more standardized English translation, okay? Now, when the bright star Aldebaran was high above the shining throne of Cassiopeia, all lay drowned in deadly sleep. Someone knocked at the door wishing to enter. He knocked loudly and often, cursing and swearing that the ready entrance was not open to his call, for on his back he carried a heavy load of nightly thefts and various plunder which he had obtained abroad through criminal means. Now, let me go back. Let's take it back. Okay. As you can see, the entrance is not available. There, you got a sea of black people, just people in general, Compton people, LA, California people blocking the entrance. Okay, this is what Aldebaran was complaining about, that he couldn't get in, and so he asked to be let in from a different entrance, or whoever was doing the asking was asking. But this person, they had, first of all, it says that the people were under a sleep spell. And I would say that the hip hop industry has been under a sleep spell since Drake came out. And so you have this person, in this case is Dot, channeling Aldebaran, the star, coming and saying, cursing, and he did do some cursing in this video, that the front door wasn't available. The ready entrance wasn't available. And so, but he was coming to bring this quote unquote plunder that had been taken. And so, a lot of this is symbolized in this picture. Okay. All right. So the other star, that's being illuminated this time is Algol. All right, so let's go to Algol. And so this is Algol right here. And I'm going to read you just a little bit about Algol. Algol is on let me go back. Algol is on 24 to 26 of Taurus, and I do believe it's right. So Neptune is literally, not Neptune, I'm sorry. Uranus is right at that 25 degree of Taurus. So Uranus is the one that is on this fixed star. And also, like I said about Kendrick, not by sign, but by degree, it's on 24, which is also tied in with this fixed star, especially as it's being activated by this Uranus. And if you know anything about Uranus, I do have a video on my channel where I talk about Uranus. Here we go. Algol. So this is Algol is a bright star position on the severed head that Perseus is carrying. It is an eclipsing binary. Every 68 hours and 49 minutes, this demon star blinks for roughly 8 hours as the dimmer star of the pair passes between the brighter one and the Earth. So Algol is two stars. And when one goes down, when one passes in front of it, it dims. So the Gorgon's head is a ghastly sight, deformed and dreadful, and a sign of woe. Okay. Astrologers, of course, said that it is the most unfortunate, violent, and dangerous star in the heavens, and certainly has been one of the best observed as the most noteworthy variable in the northern sky. And it also notes that we are indebted to the Talmudists for this story, which probably originated in Babylonia, and they added that after Adam had separated from Lilith and their demon children, Eve was created for him. Our authorized version renders the original word in Isaiah 14 by screech owl, the revised version by night monster. So this star is mentioned in the Bible. Sheen adopts the Hebrew Lilith in the Polychrome Bible, and Luther's Bible had kobold, but this corresponded with the Scottish brownie and the English Robin Goodfellow, Shakespeare's Puck. St. Jerome's Vulgate translated it Lamia, the Greek and Roman title for the fabled woman, beautiful above but serpent below, and Keats reproduced this in his Lamia. Alright, Algo represents the head of the Gorgon Medusa, who was slain by Perseus. Medusa, who was the only mortal one of the three Gorgon sisters, was originally a beautiful maiden, but her hair was changed into hissing serpents by Minerva in consequence of her having become, by Neptune, the mother of Chrysaor, and Pegasus in one of Minerva's temples. This gave her so fearful an appearance that everyone who looked at her was changed into stone. And I think you have this kind of story being healed with this music video, because like I already mentioned, black women are featured throughout the music video very, very prominently, like very, very prominently, including Kendrick's own wife, like very prominent features. And so I feel like that whole image of she was so ugly, or whatever, that turned her into a monster, that is now being clawed back, because that's what Drake did to black women. He turned black women into monsters. And I'm not saying black women were perfect before then. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the whole stripper culture turned black women into monsters. And now that's being claimed back and showing how strong we are, how, talented we are, how beautiful we are, just as we are. His wife, Whitney, was not dressed up in no fancy clothes. She had on a wife beater and a hoodie, and she was still beautiful. Like all the women, nobody was underdressed except for, maybe some of the Negroes that was out there dancing on the street. But that's what Negroes on the streets gonna do. The ones that were featured were dressed appropriately. Again, let me just, to reinforce what I'm saying, this is not the most flashy outfits you could wear. Neither one of them have one of the most flashy outfits you can wear. It's not. She's still beautiful. And so it's like rehabbing the image of the Medusa, which the Medusa energy has been coming out very, very strongly amongst most women who are intuitives, black women especially. And so casting that image as, no, you are loved, you are appreciated just the way that you are. We're going to let you, like the woman with the tightrope, gain your bearings and then, move on. Like that is an amazing feat that cannot be ignored. And that's what was given to us. So because it's Uranus is always going to be surprising and shocking. People were expecting for black women, like I saw it, like after the debate, they were like, okay, black women showing up. There's a thing, black women showing up to vote for Biden or whatever. And it was all these black women with their hair cut off. And I was like, I like my hair. Like, I'm not going to cut my hair off and join into this army. This is embarrassing, like the Wakanda movie, right? And so this is like, no, our beauty, our crown has been restored to us. Our crown has been restored. And for people who have actual locks, this is like, or whatever your hair looks like, our crown has been restored. And that's the feeling that I got, because with all the dancers, the one girl had cornrows, the one girl who had the coldest stare, her hair was super, super long. You know what I mean? Like, everybody had their, it wasn't like, oh, we need all the women's hair to look like this or that or whatever. Even Kendrick, in this picture, you can't even see his hair. His hair is covered and her hair is out. It's like, you know, a lot of different symbology is going on as far as this kind of stuff is concerned. So I didn't want to leave any of that out. All right, so the last part before we get to the politics, which some of y'all have been waiting for. Let's talk about the Kabbalah a little bit, because this is an esoteric breakdown. The red and the blue, as you can see, now this is the Kabbalist tree. And this is how their tree, now, of course, as I talk about all the time, we have a different tree. And our tree doesn't look like this. Similar, but not the same. So, the red on the Kabbalist tree is Mars, and it's Gabora. And the blue on the Kabbalist tree is Jupiter, and it's Chesed. And one is on the pillar of severity, which is Mars, and one is on the pillar of mercy, which is Jupiter. And so they actually work together. They're on the same axis with the Kabbalists, and this axis of Mars and Jupiter is connected with card 19 in the tarot. And card 19 in the tarot is the moon. And so you have this tied into this new moon. It's very much all tied together. So, which the new moon happens the day after the video was released. We have the new moon, so we're already in new moon season. And I have a video about this lunation, but this is the only Cancer moon we have this year. There's no Cancer full moon this year at all. This is the only Cancer moon we have this year. And so this pillar of severity and this pillar of mercy being connected by this moon literally shows up on their Kabbalist tree. And so there's no way that they don't know that this is happening. Like, it's not possible. And the last thing I want to mention before I go and talk about the politics. Something else about this. The throat is also signified with the blue chesed. Red is a sacral chakra. And so you have a connection now through the moon with the throat chakra and the sacral chakra. And even in that first scene with the dancers, you have Kendrick is the one using his throat chakra, and the dancers are using their sacral chakras to do the dancing. And you have it's in a white room, so that signifies the moon. So you have a huge image, a significant image in that, with the room being all white, the dancers doing the sacral chakra stuff, and in red and blue, the Kendrick in all white doing the throat chakra thing. And it's like he's only voicing what the dancers feel, because the dancers, only the women have on the Not Like Us shirts. Like we saw in the other picture, the men have on Tommy the Clown shirts. So it's really only the women who are able to connect this throat and this sacral chakra. And so Kendrick is really being the voice of the women, the protector of the women. And this also comes up in my my readings that I did, because we do have a protector. In the case of this Cancer new moon, it's the Knight of Swords, but the Knight of Swords transmutes as the Knight of Wands, and that's what we have. So we literally, like, it's all that symbology is tied up in the beginning thing. Okay, so I think I've covered enough of this. Let's quickly go through the politics, and I'm going to go quickly because now, I've mentioned several times about this building. The building that's in the background in this picture. The building that you first see the glimpse of when the video starts. The building where the first scene is, okay? This building is well known in Compton. It is called the Compton Courthouse. And what they do in the Compton courthouse, they're free casing. And free casing is basically where they set people up to go to jail. And so when we look at this video from the perspective that is also making a political statement, we get a lot more information. This is a whole nother level of interpretation. So we did the obvious interpretation. We covered the interpretation of the people, what the people were saying. We looked at the etymology. We looked at the astrology. Now we're going to look at the politics. Okay? The politics of this particular thing that's going on is quite shocking to me, because I had to flesh this out with an older person who is from Compton, who knows every single scene in that video, was explaining to me about the Tommy the Clown. I got all of this from a first-hand person who is from this area and experienced this stuff. The free casing, I've never heard that term before in my life, but that's what she called it. So that's what it's called, free casing. And that's in the holding of court. So when you see Kendrick in the hallway, he is in the hallway headed for a court hearing. That's what that's referencing. As he's going to the court hearing, he gets to the private meeting, the ex parte meeting. If y'all are following the YSL case, he gets to the courtroom. He has to give the password. Password is what? I see dead people. The judge is like, this guy. Tommy the Clown is the judge. And the judges in most court cases are clowns. They know nothing. No offense to Tommy the Clown, because I'm sure he knows more than a judge. And especially if you look at the YSL the YSL case is this is just like the YSL case on drugs, like just not on drugs, on culture, okay? Showing you exactly what this like. Because in the YSL case, what color is the judge? What color is the judge? Y'all know the answer? He is certified Negro, and that is the chief judge of Fulton County Court. That's in the YSL case. So you have Kendrick coming into court, being traumatized along the way with the flashing lights, into the Compton courthouse, going to the courtroom. What is the first thing the judge says to him? Tommy the Clown as the judge. You're late. You're not allowed to be late to court. And then so what is Kendrick doing? He's sitting down. He's saying the words. Like, you don't see him saying the words. You hear him saying the words. Because I looked at this several times. I was like, is he actually talking? Or is this his thought process? So you hear the words, but you see the woman dancing, his lawyer, telling the story of what's going on. Right? So the woman could be his lawyer or could be a jury of his peers. Either or. Both are represented. Right? Or actually it might be the lawyers, because the jury of his peers is all those people that's in the crowd, in my opinion. Okay? So he passes the Bible. What is that? What happens when you do the Bible in court? You're going under oath. I pledge on this Bible to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So he starts the song by taking an oath. Like, I mean, until I had the visual of all of that together and looking at it from this political perspective, I missed all of that. So he takes the oath with the Bible. Very first scene. So you know he's telling the truth. He's not lying. And from the rest of this song, that's the point. Okay, so and then you have the dark scene, which is the scene of the crime. I mentioned earlier that this scene is only shown once. This is the scene of the crime, where the crime happens. And what was the crime? Well, Kendrick didn't commit the crime. Some unseen, unknown force snatched this person away. It wasn't him, but he was there. And there was a witness there. That's the other dancer that was there. That was the witness, okay? So there was a witness to this crime who saw it happen the whole time. They was shucking and jiving and dancing. So there was a witness there. And you notice his witness is a male, because back in the day, witnesses couldn't be females. So there was a male witness there who witnessed the crime. And yet and still, you have only Kendrick there on the court thing by himself, okay? So what happens? He goes to jail anyway. Even though he didn't commit the crime, there is a witness there uh the girl is trying to explain to the judge, hey, this is not, he didn't do this, he still ends up in jail. Or this is like holding, right? Because when you're in the midst of a trial, just like the YSL trial, you have to stay in jail the whole time until the trial is over. And then you have the pinata scene, which is even more significant because to me it denotes the ritual abuse by either other prisoners, or it could be by the people who run the jail, the people who work there. Or in this case, since you have Dot as the one who is delivering the abuse, that he is not he's abusing, but he is getting back at these people. He is not allowing these people to he's not being a pinata and allowing these people to abuse him with a stick. He is actually fighting back. So this could be representative of he went to jail, but he fought back, meaning he didn't let these people take his innocence, or his butthole, or, however you describe it, right? All right. And so then the next thing happens, he crip walks over the hopscotch board, which means he knows the secrets, and so he able to crip walk his way out of that jail. And by the fact that it's a hopscotch board, it's some secrets dealing with children. I mean, this is the whole thing of that. It's some secrets dealing with children. He knows, he uses that to get out of jail, to crip walk his way out of jail. I've seen many people crip walk their way out of jail, okay? The next thing, whole city celebrates. It's different when you look at it from that. He gets out of jail because he knows their secrets, and so the whole city celebrates his release, okay? Then you have the scene where he's driving around town like Tupac, and he goes into his favorite place to eat. And then you have the elevator back to jail blocked by supporters, meaning the only way they're going to put him in jail is if they have to go through all those support. Elevators are two-way. You come out from an elevator and you also go into an elevator. If he's not voluntary, he's literally like not going nowhere near this elevator. So if he's not voluntarily going into jail, then they would have to come and get him. But they had to get through all of these people. So it's also like, again, Kendrick has put up a barrier of people to keep him from getting to jail by telling everybody about these people being predators and putting it in a way where people can relate. So this is not now. So again, that's why I can't say it's alleged. It's not alleged anymore. I mean, this can't be alleged when you have a whole 4 or 5 series of diss tracks, especially this one. If Drake could sue him for this, don't you think he would for defamation? There's too much proof. And there's too much social proof. All right. And so the next scene is the shipping containers. Let's look at the shipping containers. Ooh, went back too far. The next scene is the shipping containers, which signifies, again, the child trafficking. And you also have Dot now dressed in a suit as a businessman with his business partner, Dave Free. So this is DeRozan, but the other person in this scene was Dave Free. I don't know what Dave Free looked like. So I watched a TikTok, and they were talking about how, that was Dave Free. And I was like, wow. So his business partner, Dave Free, was there. Dave was dressed down. He wasn't dressed up like Dot was. Dot is the face of the company. And again, this references back to the blueprint because Jay-Z talks about him being I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. And so this is referencing that blueprint, but without telling people what the blueprint is. You can see the blueprint. If you analyze this video, you can literally see the blueprint. The blueprint is telling the truth, getting the city behind you, and doing something that cannot be denied. Now, you don't have to necessarily go after one of these people, but if the blueprint is exposing these people for their lies, and you have proof that can back it up, you could certainly become a millionaire like this. This is a fabulous way to get the truth out there into the music without people, questioning it so much. I mean, so by all means, if you're a rapper and you have proof that these people are doing this type of stuff, please put it into some music videos and make you some music. All right. And then a tightrope. The female has a hard time at first, but then she catches on. She gets her groove on, and she starts to show out again. I just keep bringing it up because the scene was so bizarre and misplaced, but not in the terms of, you know, letting the female come in and take her proper role and be as flashy and showy as she wants to be. Okay? Then you have the scene, of course, the real gangster support died, of course. Then you go back to court. Now you have the opposing teams telling the story, and the clown intercedes with a judge to manage or direct the groups. And Dot is in the middle of it as if he's not involved at all. So you have the two sides telling the story, which is why I believe these are two sides of lawyers telling the story and not the judge, not the jury. The jury is the people. And Dot is in the middle as if he's not involved in it at all. He's like, what do y'all say? Oh, what do y'all say? Oh, what do y'all say? Like he's hands off. And you don't really see him saying the words. You see other people saying the words. I should have pulled his human design too. That'd have been interesting. You see other people saying the words. You see a lot of the words either just being beamed out like they're not, or other people saying the words, or other people acting out the words. You don't really see him using his throat chakra. And I feel like that's important because it's showing that, sometimes your strength is from, again, hiding your hand. Like he's not hiding. He's not hiding. He's in all the videos, but he's hiding his hand by hiding his thought process. He's giving it to the people, but you're not hearing him like verbalize it. I mean, we also already had that with the pop out show, but now it's kind of like it's different. Okay, all right. So you have the family picture, which is in black and white, which is like a nostalgia, because it's like every grandmother's house, like a flashback before the drama, like before this fame that is coming is going to do what it's going to do. He have this memory or this flashback of his family to always go back to. And we do too. So when we see his family evolve and grow and change and hopefully get better, we can look back on this point and see like this was really the turning point, and not just in his career, but just in the culture. This was a turning point in the culture. We have this in our mind. Again, iconic. Okay. Then he's walking or marching in front of the jail. Now, this goes back to this scene. This is in front of the jail. This is in front of the jail, and they are all out there, right? They all know that this is a jail, right? We don't know this is a jail. They all know this. I mean, the courthouse. They know this is the courthouse. We don't know this is the courthouse. You have Dot out here leading a march, but it's not a 60s style Martin Luther King Jr. We shall overcome march. It's a come and see us. If you want us, come get us. Like it's way more challenging. It's way more. Actually, it's really more aggressive and more direct than MLK ever would. He's like, come and get me. Come and get me. Come through all these people. Come out here and get me. It's a challenge. But it's also it's like, this is what the new marches look like, where we surround and protect our people. We don't let them just take our people and do whatever they want to do with them. This is the new status quo, where we show up and we say, no, you're not going to take him. You're going to have to come through all of us if you're going to do it. And they can't do it. So using our strength in numbers to protect our people is what is going to save our artists and other people who are actually really, really important and powerful. Okay. All right. So, oh, he does this wave. Let's look at this one. He does this wave, like while he's in the courtroom, like when he says talking about like, are we going to be friends or whatever? He does this wave in the courtroom, and it's so, again, weird that it almost reminds me that he's reminding them that he knows the secrets. So it's like, are we cool? Because remember, I know all these secrets because you have all of these secrets laid out, right? And he's like just smiling and waving, like, I know your secrets, right? So it's like, they'll always, it's like, if I thought one scene would haunt Drake for the rest of his life, it would be that wave. Because it'd be like, what else does he know? Because he already says, like, the rabbit hole goes deeper. And I can go deeper too. He says that already. Like, while he's in the, the local establishment. Which could also be some kind of a secret hint to them. I didn't really get into that. But then he just sighs and waves, like, are we good? Like, because I know the rest of these secrets. And it's like, because he's in the courtroom. Like, again, in the courthouse, in the courtroom, he's waving, like, I know these secrets, right? Which is weird. And then the owl stare down in a cage. And I just have a theory that this could be Satan's current form. Like, people are looking for Satan in the Leviathan, but based on this and then looking at what this star Algol means and knowing that it's being eclipsed right now by Uranus and whatnot, I'm thinking that Algol is now in this form of, or not Algol, but Satan is in this form of the owl now, and it's caged. It's almost like, again, it refers to in Revelation where oh my goodness, it refers to in Revelation where the Satan is thrown back in the cage, or just Satan is removed. He's caged and then he's freed, and so this is kind of like now he's back to being caged, but it's permanent. It's not going to be coming back because he's stuck where he is. And so that's what that reminds me of. Now, let's add a little bit more politics in here for you. People don't know, this is Kamala Harris, our current vice president, with her married boyfriend, about 20 years elder, Willie. Where's Willie? Willie Brown, because someone had asked me, well, where was Kamala at the time of 92? Now, let me explain what this 92 thing is. I have a tarot spiral. My tarot spiral has two different levels of predictions going on simultaneously. There's a 2,160 year transit that has different time periods in it, and then there's also a 108 year cycle. The 108 year cycle we're in right now started in 1992. In 1992, Bill Clinton was elected, and in 1992, this is when we were supposed to go into the era of strength, as in the strength card in the tarot, where the woman is the one who's controlling the lion, the beast. Meaning the woman, specifically the black woman, was supposed to be re-elevated to the position that we're supposed to be in. That was supposed to happen in 1992. In 1992, Bill Clinton got in office, and then he proceeded to engage. Well, let's talk about that first then. You have Bill Clinton and Joe Biden. What are they hugging over? You have Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. What are they so happy about? Not the impeaching. This right here. Oh, this is not the right one. This is why everyone's so happy. No. The crime bill. I'm talking about NAFTA too. Oh my gosh. Where's the crime bill? That's crazy. This scene where they're hugging, this is over the crime bill. I thought I had another picture. They're embracing because they have just signed the crime bill. What is the crime bill? The crime bill is a nail in the coffin of the black man. It does mandatory minimums. It guarantees that the black man is going to be separated from the black woman. Because then they go into different quote-unquote black neighborhoods, because there was a bloodbath going on right now at this time. Because of the drugs that the CIA brought into the community, specifically into the black communities, there was a all-out war going on between the red side and the blue side. Okay? And so specifically the red side and the blue side, but in every hood in the country, it was bloodbath. And it's also a blood sacrifice, as we call them. Politicians are always doing blood sacrifices, but this is literally them embracing over this crime bill. And Joe Biden is the one who actually wrote the crime bill. So this was one nail in the coffin, and the other one, as we mentioned, was NAFTA. NAFTA is basically it's a North American free trade agreement, and it took the jobs away. It moved a lot of factories from America into Canada and also into Mexico, where they could charge different rates. And so you have a lot of these companies that were American companies. They literally left here and went to Mexico because they could hire people for less money. Something else they did, it used to be that, like I said, I'm from Maryland. I'm from the Eastern Shore, on part of my family side, and something that our women used to do specifically is we were crab pickers. So they would steam the crabs, and if you bought crab meat, it was picked by a black woman. Well, after this, what they would do is they would bring in women and men from Mexico during crab season to pick the crabs. And then they would basically, a lot of these crab pickers in Maryland, they sponsor Mexican cities basically, and they bring these people in to pick their crabs in the summer. And guess what? These women don't complain about working conditions and stuff like that like our women would, and you don't have to pay them what you would pay our women. And so my grandmother used to be one of these women who was a crab picker, and when they started bringing in these foreigners, she had to get another job, which was pretty difficult when you live in a place whose entire industry is crabs, which like it is the Eastern Shore. So it was really, really traumatic. It caused a lot of, trauma amongst our women. My grandma was already kind of like a drunk, so it just made that whole situation worse. And so you can see, not made it worse because she's always been like that. So it's just added on to the trauma that our women had to experience at the hands of these people. And of course, this is when them all celebrating signing away all of the black jobs that Trump's talking about. This is what he's referring to, this whole NAFTA thing, and how they took the jobs that black people had and shipped them to Mexico and to Canada. Mostly to Mexico, but to Canada as well. And so, anyway, so while all this is going on in 1992, where is Kamala, who they now want to attempt to make president? Well, she was in Willie Brown's lap. Not only was she in Willie Brown's lap, more importantly, she had just graduated from law school at this time and was working as an assistant district attorney in Alameda County. So do you not think she would know what the Compton courthouse looked like? Besides that, if you know anything about Kamala, she was parading when she was the district attorney before she became the senator. She was parading out black women, sending them to jail because their kids were truant. She was parading them around. And my friend told me that there is nobody who lived in Compton in Los Angeles County that was not affected by Kamala Harris's putting these black women in jail. Everyone was affected. Absolutely everyone. She said no, she doesn't know anyone who doesn't know someone who was affected by this. And so this is where Kamala was. She was getting her start in this courthouse, in this whole court thing, before Willie got her appointed to these different boards and all of this stuff, that other stuff that's going on. Her Wikipedia bio is very good for this. It talks about this. And so by Kendrick, in the very one more thing about Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton had a problem. Okay, I hate to take the YouTubers thing, but Bill Clinton had a problem, right? His problem was he was trying to beat George Bush Sr., who you see here in this picture, right? He had a problem. He was trying to beat George Bush Sr. So how did Bill Clinton actually beat George Bush Sr.? What did he do? Well, Clinton used his voice or his throat chakra to go on to all these different shows and play the saxophone, Arsenio Hall specifically, and play the saxophone. Bill Clinton made himself the Pied Piper of black people. He used his voice, his saxophone, his horn on Arsenio Hall's show and convinced black people he was the one to vote for. That's what he did. Of course, then you have the whole Monica thing, who was an intern, and he ends up getting impeached. So again, this ties into the whole blue thing. So this video is Kendrick and Whitney removing this power that Bill Clinton has over black people using his throat chakra. They are removing it from these people and turning it over to these people. But as you can see, Kendrick is not abusing it. He's not. You don't see him talking again. You don't really see him talking at all. You hear the voice, but you don't see him talking. Because he is using his voice to be the you know who you do see talking? You see black women talking, like mouthing the words, doing the acts, being his voice. So while he is the voice for the black women are being the voice for him. That's what you see. And so he has removed that curse that Bill Clinton put on our people in 1992, specifically to keep our black women from getting into the strength energy that we deserve, the power we deserved in 1992. Kendrick is removing that from them and putting it back on our people. Okay? And while he was in white in the beginning of this, you see she's in white here. So he could have even been standing in for her at that time, taking the brunt of what was going on in the court case, because he was wearing white for his fiance who was wearing white here. Whereas he was wearing white while he was in the courthouse. Because he was also wearing black when the thing came and did the crime. But now he's wearing black and she's wearing white. So it's always been about protecting who is the savior, who is the one who is to come and fix these things. And he alludes to this over and over and over again. Like, I mean, this is like the fifth or sixth, different thing that he's alluded to. So there's no like pretending. And also, I know that this is what he's talking about because in that snippet, he talks about a horn. And at first I thought he was talking about a gun. But then as I looked at this Bill Clinton thing, I was like, oh, he's talking about the saxophone. So I have to go back and listen to that. But literally he's talking about taking that power from Bill Clinton with that stupid saxophone that he played, going on national TV and becoming the Pied Piper of black people, removing that from Bill Clinton and putting it on himself, sacrificing himself in the quiet life he wanted to live to do this kind of thing. So if the Democrats think that they can go to K-Dot and get him to campaign for them, they're wrong. That's not going to work out well for them. And I think that that's going to be pretty immediate and pretty obviously known that it's not going to work out well for them. I just wanted to point it out because I feel like it's something that is easily lost. If you don't understand all of this political background, especially with the NAFTA, and a lot of people weren't around when Bill Clinton, especially the people on TikTok. And of course, there's not honest people. There's a lot of those, Gen Xers who, they buy into, this whole Kamala thing, hook, line, and sinker. So they would never go against the party. And so someone has to come and tell you the truth that you have K-Dot literally talking about a horn in the very first little snippet. Because I said, well, why would he put that snippet? It's like, no, to make sure the IP property was addressed. The IP, the blueprint, and the horn. Those are the three most important things that are said in that snippet. And so he says he always keeps a horn on him. I'm like, I always keep a horn on him. Bill Clinton in a saxophone. So we have gone down a magical journey of this esoteric discussion of Not Like Us. We have covered a lot of different areas. I hope that it has been helpful and will be helpful to some people. We'll see how this ages. My Cat Williams interpretation was spot on even today. And now we have this next chapter. And I appreciate, again, so much Kendrick deciding to sacrifice himself and his family and his quiet life and his nostalgic, imagery of his grandma's house and all of that, for our women to get from under this curse of, this owl, this Drake, all women should be strippers curse, and really restore us to our proper position at the top. I mean, the only one on the top of that tightrope was a woman, and so I appreciate him making this effort to restore us. Like I said, I just believe he used magic. Like I've never seen a magic like this. It's something that you just there's way too this. I have 4 pages of notes. I have a little notebook though, but still, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of notes. And that's not even like I said more than I took the notes on. So there's no way that the only person who could do something like this is the creator of all things, or someone who is co-creating with the creator. That is the only one. There's no one else who could do this, because it's not just the stars. It's not just the cards. It's not just, the community, the imagery, the lyrics, it's too many different things that we've never seen magic like this. I've never seen magic like this, and so that's the only way I can describe it is as magic, because I've just never seen anything like this. No one has ever been able to accomplish anything like this that I've ever seen. So I hope you all enjoyed my discussion. Feel free to join us. We do a lot of different discussions over here. I try to talk about stuff in ways that other people don't discuss. That just happens to be me. And I appreciate each one of you joining me for this video. Peace and blessings to you, and we'll see you in the next video.